Hello dear children, welcome once again to your channel Computer Science with Meena Dogra. Hope all of you are doing great. In this video, I will be taking up Class 10 CBSE Board Information Technology, Subject Skills, Unit 3, Rdbms Basic, Session 2, Create and Edit Tables using Wizard and SQL Commands, Part 3. Fine. In part 3, before part 3, two more parts of this session have been uploaded on the channel. Part 2, we did data types in Openoffice base, and in part 1, we did the basic terminologies regarding to and basic terminologies and database objects with regard to Openoffice base, and we also learned how to create a database in Openoffice using Openoffice Database Wizard. So part 3, after creation of database, now we'll focus on creation of a table in design view. Fine. So Openoffice base, creation of a table in design view, this we are going to cover up in part 3. So let's get into the video now, and for that I will just tell you, I will be referring to your study material, main study material. I'll provide the link in description, and we are on page 119 of unit 3, and in this if you can clearly see on your screens that there are different ways to create a table, and these two ways have been explained: create table in design view and use wizard to create table. So part 3 will focus on the first method of creating table in design view in Openoffice base, whereas part 4 will tell you how you can go about it by using the table wizard. So I will now practically demonstrate it to you how this table creation is done. I've opened school.odp, my Openoffice base database, and in that you can see in this database section, the very first option is tables. So when we click on this tables button, we are shown three different methods, three different tasks, three different headings under this task section. If you look at the first one, which reads create table in design view, and you follow the description over here, see the description on the right hand side, which reads, if you follow this method, you will be able to create a table by specifying the field name and properties as well as their data types. So three things you will be specifying for a field, like field names, properties. They will be having their own default values. Just in case you want to modify them, you can modify them. And there would be, like, for every field name you have to set a data type. Fine. The second option reads use wizard to create table. This is going to be covered up in part 4, and the third option reads create views. The first two are of our use as per our syllabus. We have to now learn how we can create a table in design view. And when you click on this, whenever you open this tables button, when you click on this tables button, you get the names of all the tables created so far in this area, tables area. As of now, we don't have any table created, so this is coming out to be blank. Fine. So I'll click on this option, create table in design view. And now for my ODB, school.odb, by default, table that I am creating for the first time has been named table 1 by Openoffice base. Then this is school.odb, table 1, Openoffice base, name of the application, and this is the table design window, or we can call it the table design view, table design window. If you can just see, observe the different sections of this window. There are three columns. First reads field name, then its field type, and then its description. Until and unless you don't type a field name, you will not be able to see that drop down list of field data types. Fine. So here we will give a name to the column, and we will now mention its data type, and giving the description is not mandatory. You can skip it if you want, but for certain columns, if you want to give a brief description as to what purpose they are going to meet, you can give the description over here. For every field, depending upon the data type for the field, the properties section, this underneath these three columns will list the properties of the fields according to the data type. So a detailed video on setting field properties is going to it's also going to follow soon. First, let us understand what do we mean by creating. After having observed this window, what do we mean when we say we are creating a table in design view? See, using this option, using this feature of Openoffice base, you can design a table from scratch as per your requirements. Fine, you can design a table from scratch. Matlab you will be the designer of your table according to your requirements. Fine, because the wizard option provides you built-in tables, already predefined tables that you can use to create your own customized tables. But here everything is going to be customized and everything is going to cater to your requirements. शुरू से लेकर end तक you will be designing your table as per your requirements. So let's begin. I'll take up a simple example for this, and in that, like, I will be making a table to store some details of a student. Fine. So I name my first column roll number. Give meaningful names to columns. So I am giving my first column name as roll number, and roll number I will be choosing as integer. Fine. So from this drop down list, I have chosen the data type as integer. Now when you have mentioned these two things, see the properties are being shown for this field which is of integer data type. These 5 properties are being shown. I'll be covering them up later through a dedicated video. Now what we have to mention over here, giving a description for this for every field is not required. Wherever you wish you can give, it's optional, but giving the field name and field type, they are mandatory. Fine. So here I will write, I can give a small brief description that this column will act as the primary key of the table because it is going to hold unique values. Every child will have a unique roll number. So I can mention that this is going to be the column that is going to act as the primary key of my table. Fine. So this is how you can describe. Now we'll set it to primary key later. Then next I want to store the student name, and I have chosen the data type as text varchar so that optimum utilization of memory can be made in case of shorter names. If just one property I will just mention, that length property underneath. See, by default the length of a varchar column is 50. You can change it and make it 30. You can change the length. If you find 50 is too big for a field that is supposed to store a name, you can set it. Fine. Next I will store the age of the child, suppose, and I set it to integer again. And next I am going to store the address of the child. Here also I will choose the data type as text varchar. Actually text varchar comes on its own by default for every field. You can change it, fine, by clicking on this drop down arrow and choosing the data type of your requirement. Data type will obviously be determined by the type of value that you are wishing to store in the column. Now after having set these 4 fields, my next and most important task is to designate one of these columns as the primary key for this table. Fine. So there are 2 ways of doing it. Either you decide your own primary key and give it at the time of creating the table, or you let Openoffice do it for you. Fine. And I'll tell you what happens if you do not set a primary key of a table. Then let's see what happens. You'll come to know it in some time. So how do I set it as the primary key? I'll click on this green arrow next to this roll number field name, and I'll press right click on this thing, right click my mouse button, and choose the option primary key. Fine. This, see, you can see this key symbol appearing before the column name next to the arrow. Now this is the primary key. I have made roll number the primary key of this table. I can even reset it back, like remove this primary key. See, it's a toggle. When you set it, there's a tick mark appearing before it, and if you reset, like you want to remove it, the tick mark is going to go away. So it's always beneficial to have a primary key to ensure record uniqueness for your table. After you have set this, click on this save button, okay, or alternatively you can click on file save. So use this on the toolbar, click on the save button, and you will be prompted to ask enter a name for your table. By default tables will be named as table 1, table 2, table 3. But obviously we'll be giving them meaningful name, but just for the sake of understanding explanation, I'll be giving it a name like student underscore my underscore pk, that is primary key. Fine. I have set the primary key for this table. Fine. Just to explain that, because I will be showing you what happens if we do not set a primary key, how Openoffice base reacts to that. Let's click on OK. Let's wait. See, the name from table 1, now it has changed to student underscore my underscore pk. Right? And now we will close this window. Once I close this window, you can see that my table is appearing over here, and I can double click on it. Once I double click on it, I get the table data view, and this blinking cursor is indicating me to start entering records. Fine. So I'm not going into this process of inserting records because this is going to be a part of session 3. We stop here, and this is one way of creating the table in design view by setting our own primary key. Let's make another table where we will not set with the same fields I will make, but I will not give my primary key this time. I'm skipping the description because I've already told you about it. For the name, again, I'm setting the length as 30, and next field would be age, and next field would be last field would be address. I'm letting the length remain 50. Now what happens, I'm not setting any primary key for this table from my side. Okay, and I click on save. So this is again giving me table 1 name. अगर मैंने table 1 पहले रखा होता तो यहाँ table 2 आता. Okay, because I have given it my name, so every time I'll create a fresh table after naming all tables from my side, option will be table 1. Otherwise it will be in continuation, table 1, table 2, and so on and so forth. So I'll now give it the name student underscore base underscore pk. That means I'm now trying to tell you how Openoffice base sets a primary key if we do not set it from our side. So let's click on OK. See the table name. Now I get this dialog box. I get this message box on the screen which says that no primary key. That means I have not set any field as the primary key of this table. A unique index or primary key is required for data record identification in this database. Fine. For this table, either you set a unique index or you set a primary key so that records can get a unique identity. Further, it reads, you can only enter data into this table when one of these two structural conditions has been met. See, if you will not set any key as unique index or primary key, then you will not be able to enter data into this table. Fine, this is being clearly indicated by Openoffice base. Next is, it asks you a question, should a primary key be created now? Yes, no, cancel. Let's click on yes. We are allowing Openoffice base to create a primary key for us. See, when you do it, see, observe, a new column has been added right as the first field of this table. Its name is ID and its data type is integer. Fine. So Openoffice base has set the primary key of this table for us by giving a unique, by giving a column name ID with integer values. So now when I close this and click on open student underscore base underscore pk table, I can see that I am getting the table data view with a blinking cursor, blank record, first record. I can start entering and my work will be done. Fine. So this is how Openoffice base एक ID नाम का कॉलम इंटीजर डेटा टाइप का आपके लिए टेबल की फर्स्ट फील्ड बनाकर इंट्रोड्यूस कर देता है, so that will be the primary key of your table. Let's now see if what would have happened had I clicked on no option. So I'll click make another table and I'll write roll number first field. I'll take its data type as integer. I'm not making roll number as the primary key. I'm setting name as text varchar and setting its length to 30. I'll again use age column as the third column, set its data type to integer, and last column would be address with length 50. Fine. After doing it, I'll click on save option. Again, I'm getting the same name, student, the table 1. I'll rename it student underscore no underscore pk. अब मैं इसमें कोई प्राइमरी की नहीं डालूंगी, बेस वाली भी नहीं और अपनी वाली भी नहीं. Okay, so I am not setting it. Let's see, when base asks me should I add a primary key, with the same dialog box, same message box has popped up on screen, so I'll say no. Fine. When I click on no and close this window, let me open this table and show it to you. See, you are getting no provision to enter records. Table has been created. Okay, but as it warned us in that message box that you will not be allowed to enter any data into the table if you are not meeting two structural requirements, either either of the two structural requirements, either making setting a unique index or setting a primary key for the table. Fine. So your table has been created, but yes, you have been given no access to enter records. ये एक structural एक आपका table बन गया है, but otherwise no other operation can be performed of it in terms of manipulation or of data like editing, adding. Add ही नहीं कर पाओगे तो edit, delete, display तो होगा ही नहीं. So this is how you can create a table in design view from scratch as per your requirements and see how important it is to make a primary key for your table just in case you want to enter information into it. Fine. I hope through this video I have been successful enough to clarify this process. Do let me know through your valuable comments how you felt after watching this video, and till we meet again with part 4, in which I will tell you how you can create table using Table Wizard. I wish all of you very happy learning. Do watch all 3 parts and stay tuned in for more on your channel Computer Science with Meena Dogra. Thank you so much, children. Happy learning. God bless you. Thank you. Bye-bye.